Thank you for joining us on another episode of Real Voices. Today we have Jackie here with us today. Jackie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm happy to. My name is Jackie Mahaney. I have been in Arizona now for 22 years. Originally from the Midwest. Everybody says, where are you from? Because nobody's ever from Arizona typically. And I've had my real estate license for 18 years. And my partner and I are known as the Realtors of Scottsdale. Okay. Kind of, not the housewives of Scottsdale or the housewives of Beverly Hills, but the Realtors of Scottsdale. And in addition to real estate, I also have a background in media advertising sales. I worked for many radio stations here in the Valley like KNIX and KEZ for about 10 plus years, and Channel 3 TV selling advertising. So I've got a marketing background as well as real estate.
Okay. So making that switch over, what made you come to real estate and I guess leave marketing?
Yeah, well, real estate is a lot of marketing,
it is,
right? So
for sure.
Those two go together. But you know what? I just got to a point in life where I really wanted to be extremely entrepreneurial in running my own business. So like I said, my next door neighbor, Richard, actually came to me and said, hey, why don't we partner up? And so in 2020 is when I actually decided to go into real estate, more so just full-time instead of part-time. And of course, the coronavirus hit. So yeah, that's been fun, to try to really get going in a year like 2020. But it's also been great because I've had to be a little bit more creative.
So what kind of ways have you been creative in trying to still reach and touch people?
Yeah. Well, I've gotten really good at newsletters, being very customizable in all of my material that I reach out to people. I was sitting open houses when we were able to do that over the summertime when it was hot as heck. I was at open houses. Been, extending myself in terms of joining more groups, even now that they're on Zoom. Just started into a BNI networking group, to get to know some folks, and doing some things at my church, and just in general extending myself a little bit more to meet people I otherwise wouldn't know.
Okay, it's been tough, even for me, just trying to figure out different ways and different means of still being myself while trying to touch people through technology. It's been difficult for sure.
But you always wear your funny hat on Zoom.
I
mean?
try.
So I love those
break
hats.
the ice.
Yeah, literally.
For sure. So tell me, you say you grew up in the Midwest. What state in particular?
Okay, I'm Iowa.
Okay.
Not Idaho, not potatoes. I'm talking corn,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Yep. Born and raised in Iowa. I went to Iowa State University. And then after college, I actually spent, I said I did my time up in Minneapolis, right? And I know I'm sorry for all the people from Minnesota, but it was way too cold for Jackie Mahaney. And so I called my mother, who was living in Nebraska at the time, and I said, Mom, I'm moving to Arizona. I'd never even been here. And she called me the next day. She says, are you really moving to Arizona? And I said, I am. And she goes, I'll go with you. So yeah, my mother actually beat me here by about a month.
Wow.
So yeah, out we came, and I've, it's been my home ever since, for sure.
That's nice. I'm thinking about Iowa. When I moved to Utah, I just drove from Florida to Utah. And the only thing I got through Iowa was these winding, and I don't know why it was winding. It was just this winding road in the middle. I'm like, this is a straight, flat place. Why is it so winding? So I-2 is what it was. But yeah, so that's my idea of Iowa. But we stopped in the middle of the night and just saw the big sky. I had never seen anything like that. Yeah. All the stars. What was that like for you growing up?
Well, it's funny you say flat, because everybody does think, children of the corn, right? If you build it, we will come, type of thing. But if you're ever riding a bicycle across Iowa, what you'll realize is that it is not flat at all. Yeah. So there's a bike ride every year that goes from the Missouri River to the Mississippi, different paths throughout northern Iowa, middle, or southern, and it's called RAGBRAI. And so my brother is a big cyclist, and he was riding it every year. So when I was 17, of course, thinking I could conquer the world with no training whatsoever, I was on the track team. And so I actually rode my bike across the state of Iowa. Caveat, I rode my bike 2 days out of the 7. The other 5, I found a cute boy with a truck, put my bike in the back of the truck and made it to the Mississippi. But no, I love being from Iowa. I reminisce about my childhood and just how innocent times were back then. I grew up in a family that worked really, really hard. My parents both taught me a lot about work ethic and making money and saving money, investing money. They were kind of a lot of landlords. They had a lot of rental homes and houses that they fixed up and rented out and kept. So that was really, I've had a real estate, history in my family. And so it's always been in my blood to want to do this.
Okay, so seeing your family kind of be entrepreneurs and do that thing, what would have been the most unique way that you made money or have ever made money?
Oh, okay. So in addition to my parents having these rental homes, okay, my dad also had a full-time job. My mother had 6 kids, okay? Yeah. And on Sunday nights in the summertime, we went to stock car races, Interstate Speedway, Jefferson, South Dakota. My father was the announcer. My mother sold tickets with one of my sisters. I had a sister who did snow cones, and I was she did cotton candy. Okay. I was the snow cone aficionado. So every Sunday night we went there, and I was, 6, 7, 8 years old, right? Mm-hmm. And the snow cones were 25 cents. But if a gentleman walked up, because I didn't do this to kids or women, but if a guy walked up, I would charge 50 cents for the snow cones. And he's like, little girl, that sign says a quarter. And I'm like, well, a quarter for the snow cone, a quarter for the tip. Well, what guy is going to turn down some little girl, right, with ponytails and all this stuff? So I'm just thinking I'm an entrepreneur getting this money in my pocket. So I got paid $3 for my shift. Mm-hmm. And then usually I would go home with an extra $3 or so in tips.
There you go.
So I've been a little bit of a go-getter from a young age.
That's cool. I like that. That's pretty good. Just thinking of different ways of making a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
So, it sounds like you had a pretty good, solid upbringing. What would you say inspired you the most, or?
Well, definitely my parents have inspired me the most. Just also with we went to church every Sunday. We lived right across the street, so there was like no getting out of it. At all, ever. It's like,
even
get over there.
Even if you're sick, you can walk over there. You're okay.
Yeah. They just taught me a lot about, when you talk about money, right? My parents would also show me like, honey, just because somebody lives in that house doesn't mean they're rich. They taught me what debt was. They taught me what bills were. They taught me responsibility. And so, the facade was off. My parents were very realistic, and that just sets a person up to really understand. I mean, a lot of people go through high school and college, don't even know what credit card debt is or a mortgage, what's the interest? What does that mean? And how can it accrue? And my parents did a good job of teaching me all of those like basic principles of life, so that when I was really on my own, I was able to, kind of manage my affairs better. So I really appreciate that.
That's the foundation, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. So, just trying to think of when you're in this, small little. I guess it has to be a small town, but when I think of Iowa, I think of all small towns, right?
Yeah.
So, what did you think you'd be when you grew up? What did you dream of?
Well, I was going to be famous. For sure. Maybe this is it, right? Maybe this is my moment right now. Yeah. And it's funny, I remember in high school, we had to take a test on what you could be when you grew up, And so you answer all these questions. And mine ended up being a hotel motel cleaner. Okay. I know. And my teacher was just like, this is what I should aspire to be. Like, this is crap. You should see my bedroom. It's not that clean, So I thank God I didn't end up being a hotel motel cleaner. But, my career in radio advertising sales and TV sales, along with real estate, have just suited me really well. I think if I ever have any other dreams in life, I really like to write. And so I would probably like to write a memoir or.
Are you already working on that?
I am. I've got 300 pages written, but it needs to be, finessed.
Okay. Well, in the industry, there's lots of misconceptions. What would you say or what people are misconceive about you and what you do?
Just in general, the biggest misconception about real estate agents is that it's easy money.
Okay.
You know, because they see the commission that you get on a sale of a home and they're like, oh, this is such an easy way to make a living. It's a very difficult way to make a living, very difficult. Not only do you have to, find the clients, right? And there's a lot of real estate agents out there. I mean, my God, the competition is worse than 33 flavors at Baskin-Robbins trying to pick out which kind you want. But the work that goes involved with getting a home closed and also keeping emotions at bay, because it's somebody's personal home and they might be emotionally attached to the home. They're certainly attached to the money associated with it, right? And it's just all along the way, you kind of have to play therapist as well as real estate agent. So when you do finally get that commission check, a lot of times you think that was not easy. That was not easy. And just, have to answer your phone weekends, evenings. And I think coming into it now more on a full-time basis, I really take a look at the other agents in the Valley that are so successful, and I know what they've had to do to achieve that. And the tenacity and the years of experience, it means a lot. And, my hat's off to all of them.
I appreciate you saying that. It really is difficult. I've been around lots of agents, and especially newer ones. They're coming in wide eyes and, yeah, I can do this. But tenacity, for sure, is definitely something that it takes. So thank you for mentioning that.
Oh, yeah.
So as far as what you are as an agent, do you have a particular niche that you serve, or particular, because you mentioned Baskin-Robbins and all the flavors.
Yes.
I try and tell people, like, you gotta have a flavor for sure.
Yeah.
You can't be vanilla.
Yeah, that's right. You cannot have vanilla, no. Right. You know what? I'm really willing to help anybody that needs my help, right, or wants my help. Obviously, I think, areas that you live, work, and play in, and the best, those are areas of expertise. And so with that said, I mean, we are realtors of Scottsdale.com. And so my neighbor and I obviously both live and work and play in Scottsdale, so that's the area that we're most familiar with. On the other hand, I lived in the East Valley, Gilbert and Chandler, for about 10 plus years. So I'm familiar with the East Valley as well, but primarily realtors of Scottsdale, up and around North Scottsdale, Cave Creek, Carefree, some into Desert Ridge. So, yeah.
So I was just thinking here, and sorry about, I was just thinking, what's the craziest thing you've ever done? You seem like you're pretty go-getter and just go get it. What would be maybe the silliest thing or the craziest thing you've ever done?
If you want to know the thing I'm most afraid of.
Well, let's hear about that.
If it's going to be so here's what I won't do. First of all, a lot of people don't realize, because I am kind of outgoing, but I always say, no, I'm really boring. Like at home, I'm just boring. I want to read a book. I want to be quiet. I like to go meditate, stuff like that. But I will not ever get on another carnival ride in my life. That is not happening. I don't care if it's at Disneyland or anything. So when I was 16 years old, my best friend, Michelle, she lives up in Colorado. We're still best friends. We went to the Sioux City, Iowa Rivercade. It comes in town for like 2 weeks in the summertime, and you try to get a big bear, teddy bear, and all that stuff. But the rides, they set up these rides.
Right.
Okay, they look rickety to begin with.
Right.
All right, but I'm 16, I'm skeptical of them, but you get talked into it. Well, let's go on this thing, the spider. And the spider goes up in the air, and then it twists you around 50,000 times. And, if you're not like wretched in your stomach by then, probably something's wrong. Anyway, it was late at night on a Saturday night. Michelle and I were the only ones on this ride. And we got to the top, and then the carny guys at the below thought it was funny that these two high school girls were up on top spinning us around. Okay. Carny guys wouldn't let us off the ride. Right? So we're going round. It was the first time in my life when I really realized, like, I'm not in control at all. Like, carny guys are in control of my life right now. And I didn't like that. My best friend starts screaming at him, name calling, and I'm telling her, this isn't going to get us off this ride. So you had to start thinking, what do I need to do to get myself out of this situation, Right. So finally, we got off the ride, but that is the last time I have ever been on a carnival ride of any kind.
That is I'm just thinking about that often. We get on airplanes and we relinquish our.
Yes.
Yeah, we do
Control.
that. We do that a lot, and yeah, that's something to think about. So often we give our control over to others, and sometimes they're not very competent.
Yeah,
Right?
so sometimes it's better to just keep your feet on the ground. Now, I love watching people go on rides or watching people, like if somebody wants to skydive or do something. I'm kind of a voyeur on that. I just want to be the watcher, but no, I'm not going to do it.
I don't blame you. That's terrifying. Well, I usually ask, what is something you would not do or you wouldn't do over? So yeah, I think we've answered that one. So appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about your favorite book.
Okay,
what's your favorite book?
My favorite book is The Glass Castle.
Okay.
Jeanette Wells. Have you read it or do you know much about it? Oh gosh, it's so incredible. It's about the wonders of childhood. Her family was very, very poor because her mom and dad were dreamers. The mother was a painter, and the father just was going to come up with all these like grandiose, next best millionaire type things, and they never did. So they lived a very poverty life. But the little girl, how you believe in your parents, even when they're telling you rubbish. And then at some point you do come to an age where even, maybe it's 10 or maybe it's 12, where you start thinking for yourself and you recognize that some parents are the children and then some children are the parents, right? And that role reversal. But it's such a touching memoir, so engaging. You can really feel everything that the characters are going through. And it's based on her real life, so I really like that.
I like that. That's interesting. I'm always thinking, I hope I'm not putting my kids in that situation because I am a dreamer. It's just one of those things I think is important to do. So
it's a balance, right? Yeah, you have to be able to pay the bills while you're dreaming. But we all, if you don't have a dream or a goal or something that gets you out of bed every morning and excites you, then life can be boring, and who wants that?
Very true.
So
very true. Well, I don't have any other questions. I like to kind of give the last word over to you. I like for you to just, say whatever you like to the audience.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate the opportunity to get to know your audience, right? And obviously, if I'm here to help in any way that I can. I really enjoy living in Scottsdale. I went to Scottsdazzle over the weekend. I don't know if you've been there.
I haven't.
Oh my God, we have so many fun holiday events here. Christmas at the Princess.
I haven't. I'm brand new to town. So.
Okay, Zoo Lights. I can keep going. Yeah, this is the greatest city in America to live in, I think. Safe, clean, nice, affordable housing, and we're just here to take it all in. And we've got a lot of people moving in from out of state right now. And so if you need a good real estate agent, hey, realtorsofscottsdale.com.
Awesome. Appreciate you coming on. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.